Welcome to my educational series where you can improve your English proficiency and prepare for exams like TOEFL and IELTS. In this episode, we'll focus on an academic topic. You will hear talk followed by several questions. I recommend that you take some notes while listening because it will help you at the end of the conversation to answer all of the questions in the quiz correctly. So, let's get started.
Let's jump into this deep dive. And today we're going to be looking at remote work, and how it's really changed the way we think about work since 2020.
It's a big one.
Yeah. And we got some fascinating stuff to go through here. You sent over some great articles and notes.
Yeah.
Including some pieces from remote work in 2020. I think that's going to be a good one to dig into.
Yeah. Lots to unpack there.
For sure. And it seems like you're really interested in figuring out, if remote work is here for good or if it's just a fad that we're all kind of caught up in right now.
Yeah, it's the million-dollar question right now.
Exactly. So we're going to, look at that, the good, the bad, the impact on productivity, and even, how it's changing the way our cities look and function.
It's everywhere you look these days.
For sure. So, thinking back to like the early days of the pandemic, working from home, it felt so new for so many people.
It was a novelty.
Right. And there were tons of people saying there's no way people can get stuff done outside the office.
Oh, yeah. Tons of doubters.
But look at us now.
Yeah. Well, and you can't ignore the role of technology in all of this.
Totally.
Think about it. Video conferencing, project management tools, all that stuff has gotten so much better.
Yeah, it's made it so much easier to actually work together.
Right. Exactly.
And I think that's something you've experienced firsthand, right? How's technology changed the way you work remotely?
Oh, absolutely. Even just little things like, screen sharing has become so seamless.
Right.
It's made such a difference in how we collaborate.
Definitely. And, one of the biggest things that always comes up with remote work is this idea of flexibility.
Oh, for sure.
The remote work in 2020 piece talked about people creating these really personalized workspaces at home. No more stuffy cubicles.
You're not stuck in a gray box anymore.
And, of course, everyone loves the idea of better work-life balance.
Who wouldn't?
Right. But it's not all about, working in your PJs.
That's just the surface.
Right. It's about having control over your schedule.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is a game changer for people with families or other commitments.
Absolutely gives you so much more freedom.
But, it's not all sunshine and roses.
Definitely not.
The article also talks about the downsides, the isolation, feeling disconnected from colleagues.
That's the big one, right? That feeling of loneliness can creep up on you.
Yeah, and companies are trying to get creative with things like virtual team building activities.
Right, trying to recreate those water cooler moments.
Exactly, even if it's through a screen.
Which isn't always easy.
Definitely not. And, then there's the whole productivity puzzle.
Ah, yes, the big debate.
Right. Some studies say remote workers are more productive. Others say it's harder to stay motivated without someone looking over your shoulder.
It's a mixed bag for sure.
Totally. And I think, it probably depends on the person and the type of work they do.
Oh, absolutely. Some people thrive working alone, while others really need that social interaction.
I think I fall into that second category.
Yeah, me too. I need that energy from others.
Right. So, think about your own experience. Do you feel more or less productive working remotely?
Honestly, it depends on the day. Sometimes I'm laser focused. Other times it's a struggle.
Yeah, I feel that.
It's about finding what works for you.
Absolutely. And from a company's perspective, there's the potential to save a ton of money on office space.
Oh, yeah. Those overhead costs can be huge.
Right. And they can hire people from anywhere in the world.
Yeah, the talent pool becomes global.
But it also brings up some tricky questions about pay.
That's the sticky part.
For sure. Like, should someone living in a cheaper area get paid less for the same work?
That's a tough one.
It is. And the Remote Work in 2020 article actually presented both sides of the argument.
Yeah, there are strong opinions on both sides.
Totally. Some experts say location-agnostic pay is the only fair way to do it.
That makes sense. You're valuing the work, not where someone lives.
Exactly. But others worry that it could lead to even more economic inequality.
Right. People in cheaper areas might end up subsidizing those in more expensive cities.
It's a complex issue for sure.
There's no easy answer.
So where do you think all this is heading? Is the future fully remote, back in the office, or somewhere in between?
If you look at the trends, the hybrid model seems to be gaining a lot of momentum.
Yeah, it seems like a good compromise.
Right. It gives people the flexibility they want, but also allows for face-to-face time.
which is important for a lot of people.
Exactly.
And, it makes you wonder how this is going to change our cities.
Oh, totally.
If fewer people are commuting, what happens to those downtown areas?
Yeah, those office buildings might become something else entirely.
Right. And how do we make sure people don't get too isolated if remote work becomes the norm?
That's a key question.
The Remote Work in 2020 piece talked about co-working spaces and community hubs becoming more popular.
Yeah, those could become the new gathering places.
But I think there's a lot more to explore there.
Absolutely. We've only scratched the surface.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And for me, the biggest takeaway is that we need to be adaptable.
100%, both as individuals and as organizations.
Couldn't agree more. This has been a fascinating deep dive. Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure. It's been a great conversation.
And for everyone listening, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the future of work. It's a topic that's going to keep evolving, so stay curious. And until next time.
Thank you for joining me today. I hope you have learned something new and useful, and see you in the next episode. Bye.